And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to IT Career in Australia live stream. And tonight's topic is how to shift your career from sales to software engineering. Thank you for finding some time this evening to join our live discussion. Please, as usual, make sure to introduce yourselves in the comments. Let us know what you do and join our conversations with your comments and questions. So if you're new to my live show, I'm Jana Martins. I've recently entered IT industry myself, so I'm passionate about learning more and also share my findings with you on this YouTube channel. So as I said, tonight, we're going to talk about how to shift your career from sales to software engineering. And Pauline is going to share her story, her experience, give some tips of what skills you need to concentrate on to succeed in engineering career. Obviously, incredibly relevant topic for those who are thinking to do this shift and maybe don't know where to start. So make sure to tag and share it with your colleagues and friends who need to hear this. And before I pass over to Pauline to introduce herself, I just want to remind you that we're going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. So if you want to watch replays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, IT Career in Australia. I'm going live there every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time, with various experts from my network, and we're talking about all the things about IT career, job search, and specifics of IT industry in Australia. Also, you can join my meetup group to make sure you get notifications about upcoming discussions. Hopefully, we might start running some face-to-face events as well, so make sure to check out meetup group. Please make sure ask as many questions as you want. As usual, the most active participants receive some nice surprise at the end of the stream. And I always encourage you to use this live stream as your opportunity not only to learn new information, but to network with people in the industry. So Mahit is here. Guys, make sure to Mahit is moving as well, I guess, from sales to to software engineering. And guys, yeah, so I see you watching, so make sure to say hi, because if you're not saying hi, we don't know that you're here. So that's enough of me, and I'm just passing it to Pauline to introduce herself, please.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Yana. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you for having me, and thank you for allowing me to share my story. Hopefully, hopefully you could pick something up from my story, or it would help inspire you. If not, that's cool too. I'm open to learning from others as well. So I guess a little bit about myself. Just to give a little intro, I'm currently a software test engineer at Prospa. And previous to that, I was doing various sales roles. Starting from the Philippines, I was actually studying philosophy in uni. And so just because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do as a career, and I thought it was broad enough to have some transferable skills. So soon after uni, I actually did a sales role straight after at an airline. And yeah, that was an interesting experience. However, I thought that I was finding a bit more, I was looking for more challenge, I guess. Let's just say that. And thought to move to Australia and took up a master's in IT there. There are various reasons why I chose IT as something to study. One of which was that I learned that I'm interested in technology, and at that time I loved video games to be honest, and I thought maybe this was a pathway to getting into that industry. But again, at that time, I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, and I thought getting into that industry was a really awesome start. So while I was studying taking up my master's in IT, I was also doing various sales roles. And when I completed my degree, I got a job at Prospa, which is another interesting story. So bear with me, it gets a little nuts. So, okay, coming into Prospa. So, so at that time, I was an international student. I didn't have a background or experience in IT. So at that time, I was just like, I'll take any job at this point. I'll do anything, you know. So I met, there was someone in uni that I met who was in a completely different department, but it was so random how they met. And I thought it was really cool that they still remembered me and they knew that I was studying. Actually, the funny thing is they thought I was studying accounting. Interesting that, yeah, we are friends, but for some reason they thought I was studying accounting. And so this friend was like, I have a brother, my brother's wife, it's a weird connection, is working in this company, which is Prospa, and they're looking for someone to categorize bank statements. Is a very specific role. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do that, but I'll give it a go anyway. So I went in Prospa, and straight away I was like, wow, this is an amazing place. I felt the good vibes straight away. I just had a really good feeling about the place. And there was an office dog, so that helped too. And he greeted me straight away. Also, good afternoon. I don't want to screw up your name, but hello. I can see you there saying hi.
Yeah, so I'll bring the comments and then to say hi.
Okay.
You know, yeah. Pauline, just yeah, so just quickly saying hi to Snail. So basically, just before we get to the the Prosper story, you know the. Was it like so you mentioned you were interested in the video games. Was it I guess conscious decision that you want to go into software engineering? So were you like get to the point, so you study your you completed your philosophy degree, moved to Australia, and it was like conscious decisions, I want a software engineering career from here?
Actually, the interesting thing is that I know IT is a really broad industry, and software engineering was one of the things that appealed to me about the industry, but it was not necessarily my first choice. And I went into the great thing about the program is they allow you to study a little bit of everything so that you kind of know, or you're guided to what you want to learn and what you might be interested in. So even at that point, I thought that I was going to become a business analyst, for example. I never imagined I would be a software engineer. But yeah, my story kind of unfolds into how I ended up in software engineering and how much I'm totally loving it. Yeah.
So I just, thinking about, sometimes people go and study something and don't really think about where what's next from the study. So I study psychology, and I didn't really think about where exactly I'm going to work after. So probably
Yeah, exactly,
similar to philosophy. But I think like a lot of people come to the situation, they go to study, but then maybe they don't have exact career plan after. And that's, I guess, your story with Prosper, that's showing us how it's unwrapped from there.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I did feel kind of envious of those that do exactly know what they want. But there's also nothing wrong with trying to figure things out, which was exactly what my story is about and what Prospa helped me also get there, basically. Yeah. But also, just another note to that, I was basically just trying out things that I might be interested in. And that's kind of what paved the path for me that led me to my career as a QA or a software test engineer. All those things was mostly because I was doing the things I was interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, and so from there, the friend of the friend felt you studying
Yeah.
accounting and felt that you
Yes.
need to work at Prosper.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And just like thank you to this friend who, yeah, totally made that mistake because they would have recommended anyone else, but for some reason they recommended me. So that was super cool. So should I go into that
Yeah,
story?
from there,
Should we?
yeah, and from
Okay.
there, yeah.
All right. So I think we left off when, yeah, went into Prospa and went for the role. They basically give you a test to see, yeah, like if you can categorize the bank statements, which again, I had no idea. And I was just staring at the screen and thinking, well, what was I doing here? This is is this a waste of time? At least I got to meet the office dog and play with it. So um, I'm pretty happy with that. And I just knew it was like over from there. So there, I was honest to the hiring manager at that time that, I just thought I'd try this, but yeah, it's probably not for me. And then I remember like something was telling me not to leave the city at that time. So I actually went to, I don't usually go to church, but I went to church and I was like, you know what, I'll leave it up to you what my path is, that sort of thing. Just waited there. Something was telling me to stay there. And true enough, I received an email um, from the hiring manager, and he was like, can you give us an email of, can you give us a write up, an essay of your experience here at Prospa, the hiring experience? And so I did. And he replied pretty quickly, and he was like, you know what? He really appreciates my written and spoken communication. So he thought maybe come back and I might have a different role for you. And I'm like, oh, wow, cool. All right, let's do this. Went in there and met up with who was going to be my actual manager at that time. And she just sat me down, talked to me about the role, which was initially just actually being the chat bot for the website. So, yeah, they're real. And I was one of them. And I'm like, you know what? Cool, I'll do it. It sounds fun. And I love the company already. So, yeah, I started with that. And so, yeah, started as a chatbot, really getting those questions that are you real, that sort of thing. And soon after, they realized that I had other skills that they could use. So I started helping them more with sales, with customer inquiries, any customer concerns, and even managing Salesforce. Managing our Salesforce is our customer relationship management system, basically. And I was doing a lot of admin work as well. And from there, I collected a lot of knowledge about the business, how our customers use our products, and how our internal customers, which is sales agents, credit officers, for example, use our products, our internal products, I guess. And when I received my certificate, when I graduated rather from uni, that's when I actually uh, got all the courage that I could gather to walk up to the CTO and say, "Hello, I just finished my master's in IT. I want to join your team." And the rest was history. But it was more awkward than that, to be honest. It was a lot more awkward than that. But yeah, I did walk up to him. Yeah.
So, till that point, do you feel like you've been using, those skills and those things that you've been studying at uni, or you feel like you were more concentrating, on the customer support and sales, or did you feel like you start already applying something that you've been studying at the same time?
For my role specifically, it was a combination of all those things, really. So when I was in uni, and as I've mentioned earlier, I was doing things and taking up classes that I thought would be interesting. So, for example, I took a class in software testing, and I remember really enjoying that class, and even had the opportunity to do an on-site to be a software tester in Suncorp, for example, and got that real experience of what it's like to do that. And I remember saying, I want to be a software tester. This is so cool. And somehow I manifested that, in Prospa. And I also studied Salesforce, and that was another subject I really, really enjoyed, as well as system architecture design, which is really useful for a QA, I find. Yeah. And the combination of that, I got really lucky that it matched with the tech stack of Prospa, and I got to use those technical skills in my role now. And the things I learned, the soft skills I gained as well from my previous sales roles, as well as my role in sales at Prospa, really helped me become a more effective communicator in a team structure. Because in software engineering, it's very important that you're able to communicate well with your teammates, and just making sure you're in alignment and expressing yourself. I guess it's a combination of those things.
Okay, so and then you finish your masters, you come to CTO. You know, what I guess what was your goal of this conversation? So what you were trying to achieve, and did you prepare for this conversation? Like, what was your key points that you wanted to get from that conversation?
Uh, oh, by conversation, which one do you mean? My bad.
So you mentioned that you went to CTO for the conversation, that you finish your masters and you're ready to
Okay.
progress and and be in his team. So
All right.
how did you prepare for this conversation, and what you were trying to achieve, and did you feel like, were you ready for that?
All right. Thanks for repeating that question. It's actually my first time wearing this as a Bluetooth headphone, so it sounds kind of funny as Bluetooth, but thank you. How did I prepare for that conversation? Uh, it was more of mustering the courage to walk up to him, but also doing a bit of research as to what the technology that Prospa is using as well, and solidifying myself because I was interested in a software testing role. So I actually took up some Udemy courses that show that, yeah, I was doing software testing and improving my skills on that, my knowledge in that. And I was posting it on LinkedIn, and he could see that. But also like exposing myself to the technology team. So even before I moved into the technology team, I was actually I had a relationship with some of the devs there already. I was already friends with some of them, and just having a chat and getting to know what they're doing, that sort of thing. So I was kind of already some sort of a presence in the technology space, which made it a lot easier to approach the CTO. I guess that's how I kind of prepared for that conversation.
Yeah, because these little things counts, and I think that's important for, I guess, everyone who thinking about this next step. They might be want to move to technology team in their organization, so maybe they stay, like, they already work in organization for some time, and they feel like they're ready to take a new challenge. But yeah, your little things, like you mentioned, start posting things on LinkedIn that your colleagues can see. Start conversations with the colleagues to understand more what they're doing, understand the technology of this team and so on. So yeah, so basically get ready for this conversation, instead of just coming up and saying, oh, I finished my master's, so can I get another role?
Exactly. And that's why I mentioned that it was a lot more awkward than that, because it wasn't just that. Like, after I told him that, he wanted to know more. Like, okay, give me more information. And I don't know exactly how the conversation went, but I basically highlighted that it's specific to a software tester, really, or a QA, where I do have really good domain knowledge, coupled with like the things I studied in uni and the things I studied for software testing, that sort of thing. And yeah, that gave him a good impression, I guess. Yeah, that made an impact somehow. Yeah.
Okay, and what's happened from there?
Yeah, so from there, I started my role actually as a manual QA, and it was the transition wasn't too difficult, just because everyone was friendly. Some of them knew me already, and I was already familiar with the technology that they were using in the tech stack. And a lot of the testing that I do involves Salesforce as well. It's very Salesforce heavy, so I was already familiar with that. And so yeah, when the devs were introducing it to me, I was just kind of like, oh, I kind of know that already, but I'm glad that they walked me through it anyway. Yeah, and I've been fortunate that Prospa has been supporting my growth as a manual QA. As a QA in general. And just to keep in mind, I use QA, software tester, software engineer kind of interchangeably. I know they can be different, but for simplicity's sake, I would just call myself a QA. Yeah, so I went from being a manual QA to software test engineer now. Yeah.
And I guess you already touched on this question. I guess a few more people joining us. Jocelyn saying hi from Philippines as well.
That's my mom. I invited my parents.
Perfect.
Oh.
That's great.
They're You're so supportive.
Well,
I love
it's
it. Thank you, Mama. Oh God.
perfect. Bring all the family in.
Yeah, that's right. I love it.
Perfect. Thank you, Jocelyn, for saying hi to us. Um, and okay, so you already mentioned a little bit about that, but I'm also curious because I had a few conversations on my live stream with software engineers and test, and I think everyone have a bit of a different opinion in terms of what's is there any difference between QA or software engineer and test or test engineer, or is it just the name for the role and the responsibilities doesn't change?
Oh, that question caught me off guard. So this is without any prior research or anything like that. So I'll give my opinion, I guess. So in our organization, at least, we use the term QA again for simplicity's sake. I feel like the word quality assurance is kind of the broader side of things. Whereas, so for me, quality assurance is just making sure that the product is, I guess, well tested in a quantifiable way, and that it works. Basically, it works, and that we can measure how much confidence we have in the product. And there are different activities to make sure that the quality is as we expect it to be. And one of which is what a software test engineer would do. And one of the main responsibilities of a software test engineer is to build the automated tests rather than as I've mentioned, there's also that part where you do some manual testing as well. So rather than manually testing things, you would build, I guess, a way to think of it for a broader audience is building a robot that does the testing for you. And that's what a software test engineer does. Although software test engineers also do some manual testing. That depends on the organization. Um, yeah, that's just my 2 cents, I guess, to what it is.
And that was the biggest change, I guess, in your role when you moved to, software engineering and test. You start doing more like automation and building the frameworks. That was the main difference, or?
Yes, exactly right. But
Mm-hmm.
some things still don't change. Again, it's we try to make sure that the product is well tested or it is of a certain quality, and building those automated tests are that's not the only way, I guess. Another way is to, for me, it's questioning the requirements, even if the users would be able to, if it makes sense to the users, because sometimes we want to build features, but do our users does it really make sense for the users? Does it work for them? Does it work in their workflow? That sort of conversation. So there's a lot of conversations and alignment kind of planning sessions that are involved to making sure that the quality is good. And it's not just the QAs that care about it, it's also everyone, the whole team cares about the quality. So yeah, there are a lot of activities to it, to quality assurance. Yeah.
Yeah, different parts and different moving parts to big system. So
Exactly.
okay, I guess let's go back to this like moment, I guess, transitioning to more software engineering, I guess, career. Obviously, so there was a few benefits in terms of you already been in the same company, you had a bit of a domain knowledge, you already knew the sales force, you already knew the people, you researched what they're doing and so on. So, but what was the, and obviously, I guess in a way it's easier than entering different organization, coming, applying for the job in a different organization where like, no one knows you and you need to start basically completely from the beginning. So there's a few things that you can carry on. But what was the main challenges when you actually transitioned to this different role? What you didn't expect, I guess.
Yep. So yeah, I did realize that my examples might be too specific, especially like if you're in the company, how do you transition into the team within the company? I To answer your question though, I think the challenges that I faced is something that a lot of people might be able to relate to. So a couple of things. It's not even the technical side, although I will touch on that. it's actually dealing with the imposter syndrome and even getting your foot in the door. So with the imposter syndrome, I just felt like, okay, you tend to doubt yourself and question why what do they see in you, and deep inside you have the capability, and that's why they uh, brought you in the team. But when you're starting out, uh, at least for me, I do question myself a lot and doubt myself a lot. And I think the reason for that is just because everything is new, and the more you do things, the more you build confidence in yourself, and the more that those voices kind of diminish that say you're not meant to be here, but really you are. Like, there's so many reasons why. And just for me to continue just building my confidence through gaining more experience, I guess. And yeah, getting my your foot in the door. Another thing was another thing I mentioned. It's even before entering this company, I was trying different companies. I was trying to apply for different companies, and because of my background, I struggled to get that opportunity. But I just kept putting myself out there, which is why I kind of this role about when they thought I was doing accounting, I was like, I don't do accounting, but I'll try it anyway. That sort of thing, just grabbing every opportunity that presents itself to you. And even walking up to the CTO, which was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. But I just thought to myself that, you know what, if I don't do this, then it'll never happen. So, and yeah, the worst that can happen is that he says no. But at least I know, and I shot my shot. Yeah, um,
Give it a
if that
shot.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, um, that
um,
and yep. And on the technical side, yeah, starting out when you're not too sure, there's so many programming languages, for example, and you're like, which one, where do I start? And there's so many resources as well. So even though I've had some training within Prospa, I wanted to do my own training on the side as well. And it was difficult for me to choose one thing that I could commit to studying that. And yeah, if I could quickly give advice on that, it's just to um, start somewhere, start small. It doesn't matter if the resource you took isn't as good as you expected, but at least you're familiar and you build your confidence as you try different things on a high level. Yeah, without getting into too much details on that. But for me, that those were the main challenges to transitioning.
And I think you already mentioned a really good point, regarding going, the taking this step and going to CTO, and having this conversation, because I think what a lot of people don't realize, they might even have, some plan or thinking about that would be nice to move to another role and so on. But I think we often forget that unless we tell it to everyone, people not gonna guess it.
Yep, exactly
Uh,
right. They're
and
not mind readers.
I think a lot of people get into this trap where they might want to move to different role or different department, but they simply not communicating into the people around them. They just hoping that someone will guess, someone will notice, someone will ask the question. But sometimes actually the simplest way, it's go to the people and tell them exactly what you're thinking and where you would like to be, instead of waiting for them to come to you and ask this question. And unfortunately, I
Exactly.
think in the beginning, then people early in their career and still, as you said, building this confidence,
Yeah,
this is something that just could be a bit scary to do. Actually go and voice your opinion, voice your wishes, like make the statement, and tell people about your dreams. um
absolutely, I agree. And
and
just to
yeah,
add, yep, sorry.
yeah, no, you go.
um, oh, cool, thanks. Just to add to your point, yeah, exactly what you said. If you don't ask, then yeah, you won't get. And I was lucky because in Prospa we do have this culture where they're very supportive of your growth, and that as long as you let them know what you're interested in and the specific things you want to do to be able to grow or even transition, and we have a lot of those things happening, then absolutely they'll help you with that. But even if you're in a situation where you're not in a company and you're shopping around for different companies too, yeah, I I would also recommend the same thing as putting yourself out there. Maybe, for example, go to meetups, introducing yourself, and it's good to be prepared. But if you don't have all the answers, that's fine too. You don't have to have all the stars aligned for you to take that first step. But as long as you are doing it, then you're already getting somewhere. And yeah, and ask questions. People love to talk about what they know. Yeah, that's kind of what I would recommend.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, like, again, coming back, you just mentioned, like, for example, in Prosper, you feel, supported about, some career goals and so on. And I guess it's also, I think it's a conversation for a different live stream. And I actually probably would like to discuss this topic more in details. Probably need to get some, people from HR to live stream. But not every organization, have resources, like have enough like HR people or, the resources just to talk with everyone and discuss these career goals. And I think that's where people don't feel heard and don't understand where they can even move in the organization. And I guess if you are in an organization like that don't really have a structured way to talk about your career and to talk about what's next for you, it's all up to you to come up to your manager, to come up to someone else, come up to your colleagues, and again, like, communicate and voice it out. That's the things that you want to do, because it's not always will be structured and nice, and it's not always the, I don't know, HR person will come to you and ask you what you want to, where you see yourself in the in the year or next 2 years, and that how we can put this training plan or learning plan in place. So sometimes you have to take the ownership and do it yourself, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, you touched on a really good point there, like just ownership, whether you're already in the company or not yet in that company, is, yeah, just trying to take control of your destiny in some sort of way. Yeah, in some ways. And yeah, that's why I recommend networking and going to meetups, things like that. Whether or not you are already in that company that you want to transition into, there's so much value into meeting new people and learning from them.
Smail is saying, yeah, if you don't focus, you will certainly get lost in the mountains of resources available on the on the internet.
Yeah, it is a fine balance, trying to, on the one hand, you want to explore what you're interested in, what you want, and which direction you want to go, but at the same time, like, you have to have some sort of focus. So yeah, that was something that I had to kind of balance as well. But yeah, what guided me really was doing the things that I enjoyed.
Yeah, and that's, again, this, like, a fine line about actually not forgetting about what you enjoy, not only that you, I guess, need for your career or, like, have to do, but making sure you bring in the things that you actually enjoy doing and want to progress more, and then the learning curve will be much easier as well than you enjoying something.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, exactly. The things that excite you, there's more, you feel more motivated and excited to do that.
And Pauline, coming back, I guess, to your story, like, if you'll try to be, I guess, a bit more specific, what do you think, what sort of skills, especially in the beginning, you brought from, like, your sales experience into this software engineering? Which skills you feel like been really, like, easily transferred into the next step, like the most transferable skills for you?
Yep. Great question. And obviously, there's communication, but specifically how? There's so many. Where do I even begin? So I guess my team likes to take advantage of my ability to talk to different stakeholders. Not all QAs are required to do this, but it certainly helped me in my role because as a QA, you do have to understand the perspective of the user to be able to help you make sure that it works for them. And so my experience in sales definitely helped me be able to communicate with our stakeholders and even be able to understand what their requirements are, what they need. And also, there's a funny way to describe the tension between devs and QAs. It's a stereotype. It's not always true, but it still happens to this day where devs would tell me, no, that's not a bug. It's a feature, that sort of thing. And as a QA, and what I learned from sales is to be assertive and to communicate to them why this is a bug and why this needs to be fixed without it escalating into something more than it should. And in a team structure, it's very normal for disagreements, I guess, to happen. And having that communication skill would help you to communicate your perspective at the same time understanding other people's perspective so that you somehow come into alignment. Alignment is another thing. Yeah, making sure that the whole team understands what needs to be done. A lot of bugs, I guess, and issues uh, happen just because there was miscommunication along the way. So yeah, it's super useful to make sure everyone is on the same page. And yeah, other specific examples, I guess, would be like recently I've had to explain the risk of going live with a certain change, knowing that there are these number of issues. And I had to explain to the team that if we do this, these users will be impacted, things like that. And yeah, having that communication skills totally helped me explain that. Um, yeah, I guess that's mostly it. Yeah.
But I guess the sales, it's mostly communication.
Yes.
And sometimes people have a bit of a negative feeling that someone working sales because they start thinking about manipulation techniques and but in reality the sales, it's a communication skills. We use sales in our real life every day, so we always trying to sell something. We're trying to sell something to our kids, that they don't want to
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah. We even
So
negotiate with our like pets sometimes with my dog, for example. Just like, no, you gotta eat now so that we'll go for walkies later. That sort of thing.
and
But yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
this the sales just part of our life. But I think we every live stream that I have, we always, I guess, talk about this importance of the communication skills. And different people during their career, some people develop their technical skills first, and then they start improving their communication skills. Someone vice versa, they come from like more the customer facing roles, and then they build on their technical skills. But I think it's always come like hand to hand. We can't really dismiss the importance of the communication skills, no matter how technical the role is. And I think over and over again we've been talking that to progress with your software engineering career, you can't disregard communication skills. There is you still need to work within the team. You still need to communicate to people. It's just given, and you can't just avoid that bit whatsoever.
Absolutely. And if anything, like the engineering team, especially if you're in a team structure, is the most collaborative teams out of other teams in the organization, if I may say so myself. But yeah, it's super important to have some sort of communication skills in a team setting. Yes.
Smail saying, Yana, you should set up a networking event for us. Come for coffee. Look, Smail, I've been thinking about it. It's coming. It's coming. I need to organize a face-to-face event, but I still need to think if we should have maybe speaker there as well or not. So I'm thinking, but I think it's about the time to get out and actually get some human connection.
That's right.
Baskai is saying management who looks for passion helps as well. Yes, definitely. It's coming back to these examples when it's could be challenging to come to your manager. But yeah, it's coming back again to this communication skill. Even communication skills, how to speak with your manager.
That too is super important to communicate to your manager. Yeah, your thoughts and needs.
And we not always can choose or change our manager, so we need to find the ways how to communicate, and again like show them that passion, and show them that we're willing, I guess, to progress and develop our career. But I'm sure there's a lot of challenging situations. Then things might not go like as you want.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, having QA in early discussion of the feature build helps a lot in communication.
Thanks for pointing that out, Bhaskar. Yes, just it's a very specific to a team structure. A little bit for the broader audience, just to kind of explain what he means is that we do have some planning sessions on like what we want to build, and we have a lot of these discussions of the things that are to come, and sometimes we leave the QAs out up until the end, since for some people QAs just test. But again, as I mentioned earlier, that's not all they do to make sure that a product is well tested. They need to be involved in the beginning so that they can tell you straight away, as someone who has more intimate knowledge of the systems, how each component works, they'd be able to say, hey, what you're planning to do might not work, that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of like what he's trying to say. Being able to communicate that really helps in the early stages of building a feature.
The test engineers, they just break things.
Yeah, pretty much. And take screenshots. That's all we do. Break things and take screenshots.
That's all you do, guys. You just break things.
Absolutely.
What's like why do you need to get involved? It's just not gonna work after.
Yeah, we're just gonna break it, like leave them out.
Smiley saying, I'm selling dinner to my little daughter as I'm listening.
Oh wait, selling dinner? And hello to your little daughter.
Talking about the whole life is a sales process. Yeah, for sure.
Right, of course. Were you successful though? I'm curious to know. Hope it went well.
Yeah, let us know, Ismail, how's your negotiation going? That's one of the hardest negotiations, because kids just say no and that's it, and they don't need even like supportive arguments.
That's right. That's all. Yeah, that's all they'll say. No, and that's the end of the argument.
Yeah, so try to overcome those arguments.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, Pauline. So I guess I'm cautious about the time. So we almost 45 minutes in our conversation. I guess, guys, if you have any questions to Pauline, please put in the comments. And let's try to summarize our discussion. So what would be, from wherever we already talked today, but if we want to summarize, I guess, your top advice, then someone shifting from maybe non-technical career to software engineering, what would be your top 3 tips, top advice? Then someone not sure where to start, they thinking, I want to work in more technical role.
Right.
What should they do?
Okay, since it's just 3 points, so point number 1, point A, is to have fun. Just enjoy it. Again, the reason that I am where I am today is because I started with just doing the things I'm interested in. And it also could be just finding a problem and trying to solve it and software engineering is a really great way to solve a problem. Could be the smallest thing, like trying to help you decide what dinner is, for example. You can build an app for that. It's very simple. You could it'll help you stay motivated as well, as Yana mentioned earlier. Do something that excites you. I guess the second one would be, yeah, put yourself out there, speak up. I know it can be intimidating, but again, you miss 100. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I hope I said that
Yep.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
shoot your shot. There we go. Just have that conversation. Be prepared, of course, when you do have this conversation. But if you don't have all the answers, that's okay. You can even ask, and they'll be happy to answer that for you. I guess another point would be aligned with that point. So I guess 2.B, that was 2.A. So 2.B is to network, expand your connections. There are a lot of meetups here in Australia, or generally. And the good thing is that we have a lot of those online as well. So try to expose yourself as much as you can. And in meetups specifically, not only do you meet more people, you also learn a lot, and you'll even learn about what you might enjoy and what you might like that will help you progress in your career. So how many points was that?
That
And
you went to like point to A, point to B, okay, and then point number 3.
my bullet points are kind of everywhere. Um, but I guess I'll end with the last point, which is don't get too stuck with this. There's this saying. Oh, I love these sayings. I heard, yeah, some people enjoy these things, but um, try not to get this wrong. But don't get too stuck in analysis paralysis. Start somewhere, and you'll definitely hit a lot of roadblocks. You'll definitely hit a lot of challenges, but don't let that discourage you, because anything in life has its challenges, and so does this. But try and find someone, for example, a mentor. I haven't recommended that earlier, but I would recommend that, or at least someone who's ready to give you that support, so that you know if you're going to the right direction, and to even check your code if that's what you're interested in. That sort of thing. It's super, super useful. Even up till this day, I have my, he doesn't know it yet, but he's kind of my mentor. And I'm just lucky to have that support. And um, I am this engineer now, partly because of the support that my mentors actually have been providing for me. So yeah, I hope my bullet points make sense.
No, totally. And I always like to add this quote when it comes, I guess, to changing the career. So next time you're not starting from the beginning. You're starting from the experience.
Yes.
And I think it's about also remembering that you already have experience. Maybe you don't have this exact experience, but you can always find these interchangeable skills that you can apply, and you can always think about like, okay, so what sort of skills and strengths I already have that I can apply to my next career, instead of thinking like that I'm completely starting from like a blank spot.
Exactly right. And if you need some sort of inspiration, just remember that there was someone like myself who started from philosophy to sales to software engineering. And yeah, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I do have the passion, and I do have yeah, the yes, the
The drive.
willingness to get there. Yeah, the drive. There we
So
go. Words escape me sometimes.
I know the
Thank you,
feeling.
Yana.
I know the feeling of trying to find these words. I'm like, oh.
And just like I keep saying, okay, communication is a skill, but then I'm just like struggling. But it happens. It absolutely happens.
No, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
ran like 300 live streams, and I still trying to find the right words. and Ismail is still begging his daughter to to have her dinner. Here we go, negotiation, the hard negotiation. Here we go. Probably
Try
not the
different. Yeah.
best. Not the best strategy for your CTO, but maybe trying to beg on the knees.
I was gonna say try a different approach, but if begging on your knees doesn't work, I don't know what will. I'm sorry, your daughter's winning this argument right now. I hate to break it to you.
And Anton's here saying, great insights on following your passion and taking every opportunity to grow, Pauline. Inspiring on how far you can go alone. Example with CTO conversation. Imagine how much can be done with support of the managers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Bahash is also mentioning interviewing is not only a process where an employee chooses you, it's also a process where you choose your manager. Really good point. Baskar, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But yeah, really good point. And I think we see it more and more clearly, especially after COVID. Yeah. So how many people like change the jobs, with this crazy market in IT because they want to enjoy their workplace. They want to enjoy their working arrangements. They want to enjoy people they're working with. And it's not, in a lot of positions, it's not the, hiring manager interviewing the candidates anymore. It's candidates who are interviewing hiring manager, making sure that they're making the right choice.
I absolutely agree with that. You can be picky as well, selective with who you want to work with, and it's really important because that you're going to be working for that organization, and you want to make sure you resonate with that organization, I guess. Yeah.
And I think it's also coming back to this mindset, and Pauline, you mentioned it as well about this negative thinking. As soon as you start thinking that it's not they who choosing you or trying to feed you for the job, as soon as you start thinking that it's you who choosing your career and choosing what you want to do, you change the perspective and the conversation changes as well. So it's just this shift in the thinking as well.
Absolutely. And I've been in both sides of the table, an interview and an interviewer. And I would say even us, we're like trying to sell prospect to these candidates as much as we have lots of love and confidence in our organization. But yeah, it goes both ways, really. Prospect should fit the candidate as well.
100%. And Smail is still struggling with his daughter.
Just give up now, Smail. Just give up. She's won this one.
Totally. Cool. So thank you, Pauline. I think, again, cautious about the time. So I'm gonna announce the live stream for next week, our topics for next week. And while I'm doing that, you think about who's the winner for today's giveaway. So I'll give you some time to think, so you can scroll through the comments. And so guys, next Wednesday, 25th of May, I'm actually taking a break. It won't be any live stream next Wednesday. It's my birthday next week. So I decided, I do a bit of a, relaxing week next week.
Well deserved. Happy birthday. It was also my birthday this month. So, represent May babies.
Are you Gemini or not? Or not?
I'm Taurus.
Are you Taurus?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say more Geminis, but no. So my birthday next week, so I'm skipping next Wednesday live stream. And then Wednesday after, in 2 weeks, on the 1st of June, we're gonna talk with Ashish, and we're gonna talk about the differences between working in a startup versus corporate environment in IT industry. So great topic for those who maybe just tried only one side of the coin and, maybe not sure if, they want to move from the corporate to startup or from startup to corporate. So obviously there's props and cons and everything. So join our discussion on the 1st of June and ask your questions. And on the 8th of June, we're going to talk with Brian, and we're going to talk about top employee retention strategies in IT industry. And I guess we hopefully going to mention those points that we just mentioned before about, having a supportive managers and, helping people to navigate their career and obviously to help retention with the staff. Bakash saying happy birthday. Too early, not yet. It's next week.
Wow.
Here we go. I'm already getting birthday wishes like a week in advance.
Now it's a birthday party.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to start celebrating from today.
Right.
So, and Pauline, so who's the winner of the virtual coffee chat with you today?
I really want to know what the conclusion was between Smail and his daughter. So I guess I would go with Smail.
Here Here you go, Smile. Congratulations. You are a winner of our giveaway today. So I'll connect you with Pauline on LinkedIn, and so you can organize the virtual coffee chats. So you can continue the, improving your negotiation skills.
There you go. There's they're the best teachers, kids.
For sure. That's why I don't have any. So I'm avoiding that.
Absolutely.
Again, Pauline, thank you so much. And just you already mentioned, I guess, a few of your favorite quotes during this live stream. But just to finish this stream, I would like you to share, I guess, your favorite inspirational quote. Doesn't need to be IT related, just in general, something that I guess you use as some, guidelines in your life.
Shoot your shot. I know I said that a lot.
Or whatever. You will miss 100% of the shot you didn't take. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Something
that's
like
way
that.
better. Yeah, we'll go with that.
If you know exactly this quote, maybe post it in the comments, because I'm sure I'm getting it wrong too.
I probably got it wrong, so yeah, let us know.
But I think you'll miss the 100% of the shot that you didn't take. Something like that.
That sounds about right. The point is brought across.
So guys, make sure take the shot. I hope you get inspired today with Pauline's stories. So give it a go. Don't stop. Dream big and keep going, basically. And if you enjoy this live stream, make sure give it a like as well, because obviously if you're liking it, if you're getting some advice and getting some value from my live streams, I want to keep going. And if I want to keep going, I want to see that you actually liking and following it. So the simple correlations. So give a like to my video, and I will see you in 2 weeks now. Thank you, Pauline, again. And Smile is looking forward for the coffee chat about how to sell to tech tricks, how to sell to my daughter.
Yeah, she'll teach you sales, and he'll teach her tech tricks, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, thank you as well, Yana, and thank you everyone who's joined us today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my story. And yeah, catch you all later, I guess.
Thank you, everyone, and see you on the 1st of June.